It's Monday, the 17th of February 2025. Welcome to the Fast 5 Business News by Fear and Greed, where we give you the top 5 business stories you need to know in just 5 minutes. I'm Michael Thompson, and good morning, Adam Lang.
Good morning, Michael.
All right, Adam, 5 stories to race through in 5 minutes. Let's go. Story number 1, it is rate cut week, with the Reserve Bank board meeting today and tomorrow to deliberate on whether Australians need their first interest rate cut since November 2020. Now, the consensus among market economists, including, interestingly, the chief economists of the big 4 banks, is that rates will fall.
Yes, Michael, the evidence for a rate cut is growing. Underlying inflation, which takes out volatile items, is at 3.2% per year and indicating to head lower. The labour market remains strong, but wages growth has come off the boil, and that's lessening expected inflationary effects from those higher wage costs. The economy itself is weak at best, with the latest growth figures suggesting the economy is expanding at less than 1%. It was backed up by Commonwealth Bank boss Matt Comyn last week, who said credit card and debit card data shows softness in parts of the economy.
It would be wrong, though, Adam, to say it's a done deal. Services inflation is still too high in Australia, so too some parts of housing. Last week, US inflation figures ticked up again, demonstrating that really the inflation genie is not fully back in the bottle in that economy. Also, this is the last meeting of the RBA board as it is. After tomorrow, it actually splits into 2, including 1 interest rate setting board. Now, that might play into the decision. All in all, people do think there's going to be an interest rate cut tomorrow, but you may not want to bet your life on it. On to story number 2 now. You get the sense that we are getting closer to an election. Opposition leader Peter Dutton has been out over the weekend threatening to break up the country's biggest insurers, claiming a lack of competition in the market is making policies more expensive for consumers. He's previously referred to the potential to break up the big supermarket chains over competition concerns. The coalition is promising to create further divestiture powers. And yesterday, Mr. Dutton was telling Sky News that we need depth in the insurance pool and we need to make sure that we are not being ripped off by insurance companies.
Yeah, Michael, and also in federal politics, the government has reached a deal to send violent, non-citizen criminals to Nauru. A landmark High Court ruling in 2023 determined that 220 people who had broken laws and failed the character test but couldn't be resettled in their home nation could not be held indefinitely. Labor has been searching for a solution, saying it would pay third-party countries to take some of those affected by the ruling. The first 3 ex-detainees, including 1 murderer, will now be sent to Nauru within weeks, having been granted 30-year visas by the island nation. The government hopes that more will then follow.
Story number 3, it is a bit early to tell how the capital city housing market is going to perform this year, knowing it wasn't so flash last year, at least in Sydney, Melbourne, Hobart, Canberra. But, Adam, the regional property market is doing pretty well. In the 3 months to the end of January, almost 3/4 of suburbs in regional Australia reported house price rises. In the capital cities, almost half recorded declines.
Yeah, Michael, the regions are showing much more resilience, and this is according to the Core Logic data. There are a few reasons for this. Homes in regional Australia are cheaper to begin with, so affordability is greater. Also, the competition in towns and small cities in the auction market is not as hot. Core Logic economist Caitlin Ezzi also talks about a second wind in regional internal migration, and this is from 2-fold reasons. More people are moving away from capital cities, and people in the regions are staying there. She says hybrid working and working from home are here to stay, and people are prioritising lifestyle over work. As a result, demand levels in the regions have settled at a point higher than pre-COVID levels.
Story number 4, turning to international news, Adam. US Vice President JD Vance has stunned Europe with a speech that criticised leaders for undermining democratic values and free speech. Leaders were gathered in Munich expecting, apparently, to hear the Trump administration's plans for ending the war in Ukraine and for dealing with the broader threat of Russia. But instead, Vice President Vance argued that Europe's primary threat is internal, stemming from a retreat from fundamental values rather than from external actors like Russia or China.
Yeah, Michael, he called on Germany in particular to drop their objections to working with a party that has often used banned Nazi slogans, saying there is no room for firewalls. In response, German Chancellor Olaf Scholz defended his stance against the far right and said his country will not accept people who intervene in our democracy.
Last one, story number 5. I love this story, Adam. China will launch a network of silver trains for elderly tourists as part of a plan to unleash the spending power of one of the world's fastest aging populations. An official action plan released this week outlines the need for trains to be outfitted with medical and old age services, according to the Financial Times. By 2027, a network of such trains could cover the entire country.
Yeah, Michael, China's ageing population poses a profound long term challenge to the world's second largest economy. 20% of the population is over 60 years of age. Authorities said silver tourist trains were an important part of promoting service consumption. The government says the silver economy is worth around US $1 trillion annually. China's retirement age is also among the earliest in the world, at 60 for men and 55 for women, though policymakers last year outlined plans to raise it gradually. State-backed broadcaster CCTV is running segments showing elderly passengers on trains dancing and playing mahjong.
All right, there we go. The top 5 business stories in 5 minutes. Thank you, Adam.
Thank you, Michael.
It is Monday, the 17th of February, 2025. Remember to hit follow on the podcast, and if 5 minutes isn't enough, you can find our longer daily show called Fear and Greed wherever you listen to podcasts. I'm Michael Thompson, and that was the Fast 5 business news by Fear and Greed. Have a great day.